You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
Hi, my name is Blake, and I have just a quick note before we get started. Actually, it's more like a recommendation, because this podcast is an immersive storytelling experience, part fact, part fantasy. It's best that you listen with headphones on, imagination on, and everything else turned off. Welcome to Abandoned, the All-American Ruins podcast. I remember you well at the Taney Motel.
Welcome to Branson. Now, don't let this small, beautiful town in the Ozarks fool you. Branson is host to millions of visitors each year, and in the next 60 minutes, you're going to find out why Branson, Missouri is entertainment country.
This might be the first time since I rediscovered this little hobby of exploring abandoned spaces that I am grateful to have stumbled into, the arms of an abandoned space like this, what's this called? The Taney Motel, I guess. I've been bummed out all morning because I tried to explore the remains of Celebration City, a decaying theme park in Branson, Missouri, modeled after a heteronormative, whitewashed 20th century small-town USA, with sections of the property dedicated to rotting mainstays of American culture, like 1900s Boardwalk Society or the glory days of Route 66. Oh wow, there's a lot to see here. But employees at the Steak and Shake across the street from the now deserted and overgrown abandoned theme park strongly encouraged me to keep out. Apparently, the defunct Mom and Pop Family Fun Center is heavily guarded, several of the buildings and empty parking lots having been occupied by Woodland Hills Church, which, fun side note, is one of 3 churches in the United States that have operated out of an abandoned theme park since 2004. Every door is... Let's see, here's this one. Yep. As a queer kid who grew up choking on a homophobic atmosphere in a part of the country where guns are treated and worn like jewelry, I wasn't about to try my bad luck exploring Celebration City, so I opted to be a normal tourist and poke around Branson's historic downtown instead. Wow.
There's only one way to describe Branson, Missouri. It's good, clean fun. Something the whole family can enjoy together. And the only way to really understand what's happening in the small Ozark town is to see it for yourself. Located 200 miles south of Kansas City, Branson sits along the Missouri-Arkansas border. Its central location makes it a perfect vacation spot, whether you're spending a week or just the weekend. Each year, 5 million tourists make their way to Branson. That brings an additional $1.5 billion to Branson's
The ambiguous town center looks awfully similar to Colorado Springs' old Colorado City, a tourist trap located a mere 20-minute drive from the house where I grew up. After I get the look, not once, but twice, I decide that Branson isn't my fate. The look, a threatening, disgusted glare from strangers, usually men, who see me, how I dress, how I look, and try to gun me down with their eyes. But even though I feel danger from these two separate men, hop in my car and start to head out of town for a nature hike, I am instead tugged away from my own plan B. As the rental car passes West Oklahoma Street, less than a quarter of a mile from the bridge over Rourke Creek, my eye catches the faded sign for the Taney Motel, a stunning monument paying homage to the look of 1970s Ozarks tourism, when motels like this dotted the southern Missouri landscape, less than half an hour from the border of northwest Arkansas. I whiz by and approach the traffic circle on the opposite side of the creek. As is so often the case, I pass every exit that could have taken me out of downtown Branson and make a full U-turn, crossing right back over the bridge and making the sharp right turn into the parking lot, which slopes upwards, then crosses parallel to Veterans Highway, which is an offshoot of U.S. Route 65, which runs from southern Minnesota all the way to Clayton, Louisiana. Then my car glides back down again towards the tallest building on the property, completing the hillside horseshoe design of this empty motel that, from a bird's eye view, resembles a giant U, the center of which is the faded blue pool, gated off on all four sides by a rusty chain-link fence.
We were going to go on a crusade across the nation and try to do away with the homosexuals. Then we were met with protest and...
We're not running down the homosexual. We're simply saying that there are God's laws against homosexuality that we must obey as His people.
Debate over the controversial ordinance prohibiting discrimination against persons based on their sexual preferences drew the largest crowd of citizens ever seen at a Metro Commission public hearing.
Unfortunately, the battle that we won today is only that, a battle. The war goes on to save our children because the seed of sexual sickness has already been transplanted by misguided liberals in the U.S. Congress. But I can and do say no to a very serious moral issue that would violate my rights and the rights of all the decent and morally upstanding citizens, regardless of their race.
You know, you gotta wonder if I would have even gotten the look had I successfully explored Celebration City today, but yeah, I mean, I did, so what are you gonna do?
It doesn't really matter, though. The look did happen today, twice, in fact. Almost always, I convince myself it's a mirage, an inflamed emotional sore, a lasting result of childhood trauma, born out of a time when words like faggot were liberally volleyed in my direction anytime I had to walk down a hallway at my middle school. Usually I come around and remember that it's easy to gaslight myself into thinking that the look isn't happening, that it's all in my head. It's not, though, and it's actually pretty easy to catch if you're paying attention. I know a lot of my fellow queers know what I'm talking about. It's that look of, I don't know, disgust, or rage, or hate. The look that some of us get when we simply exist in a public place. You can just feel it in a spectrum of presentations, from mild curiosity seekers to more violent perpetrators. Sometimes it happens more than once in a day. And more importantly, there are a ton of variables that become contributing factors as to who might get the look, when, and why. It depends on how you present yourself, where you might be in a geographical sense, if you have to use your own speaking voice with other people around. For example, at a cash register buying a bag of candy, or explaining to a barber how you want your hair cut, how built your body is or isn't, your posture, the very way that you move through time and space. It had been a while, and I knew I was taking a risk in a highly conservative place, wearing booty short shorts, a cut-off sleeve t-shirt, and what I call my fuckboy shoes. I was feeling extra confident, despite the place I was in. But when I parked and made my way across the dusty lot towards the coffee shop, I passed several cars idling at a red light, all waiting to leave downtown Branson, Missouri. At least 4 of them had some kind of Trump Save America bumper sticker slapped on the trunk. 3 of those had their windows open. 2 of those were pickup trucks. And each driver in each of those pickup trucks gave me the look as I passed by, minding my own business, back to back, almost as if it was a coordinated effort, a choreographed pas de deux. I thought it was uncomfortable then, but it wasn't until the antique shop, which is usually the kind of space where I get to time travel and feel lost in the whimsy, where I found myself browsing old train advertisements that had been cut out of magazines, mounted on cardboard, and placed in a protective sleeve, that I experienced the most intense moment of homophobia I've felt in a while. My shoulders became numb. My neck stiffened. I could feel my feet beneath me quiver. Faggot. Faggot. Whispered into my ear by a passing fellow shopper.
And even though the crowds keep pouring into Branson, don't worry about a place to stay. The town has plenty of lodging. You may have to plan a bit ahead, but getting a room in Branson should be no problem at all. If you'd like to get away from it all for a while, Branson offers that option too. Just head for the Shepherd of the Hills Inspiration Tower. It's just a short drive off the main strip, and once you're high up, you can see all of Branson.
I parked the car towards the top of the hill, out of sight from any passing cars that might have the look ready for me. My skin instantaneously begins to sponge up the August sun that gently massages my body, while I listen intently to the sound of motorists speeding by into and out of downtown Branson. Still on my toes after the scary moment at the antique shop, I inspect my surroundings, noting the adjacent motel next to the Taney, still fully operational, clean, a total yin to the yang of this disrepaired, dwindling complex. Luckily, I'm pretty sure nobody's gonna whisper faggot into my ear. Not here.
Isn't it so wild how I feel safer here than around people? I mean, the irony of that is just...
I pull out my Kodak half-frame loaded with purple lomography 35mm film and begin my investigation. My imagination almost immediately begins to burst through my skull and whip up all sorts of dizzying daydreams of the Ozarks' bygone era, when nuclear families found refuge in this land of fun and fare. The deeper into the motel complex I get, the further into my 1970s Ozark fantasy I go, and the further away from the look I go, too. The sounds of Dolly Parton's Coat of Many Colors play over the imaginary loudspeakers positioned in various places throughout the property, and the music almost cradles me as I wander into the motel tourism office and begin to sift through a wall of pamphlets for tourist traps, tacky Christian musical spectacles, and outdoor adventure experiences like ziplining or skydiving. I find an article from a 1989 issue of The New Yorker, penned by Lisa Smith, in which she describes checking into the Taney Motel.
I finally checked into the Taney Motel. The lady showed me a room and told me it would be $32 a night, but after I told her I had been staying at the Sammy Lane Resort, she said I could have it for $28. She said, "This isn't a dressy place like the Sammy Lane, but it's clean and it's got a phone in the room and cable TV and a swimming pool." The pool was about the size of 5 bathtubs. It sat beside the parking lot and was bordered by a chain-link fence. My room, which didn't get much light, had painted cement block walls. The room was so humid that the chairs and the bed always felt damp.
This abandoned place. And this motherfucker's been... She's been abandoned for years. You can tell. It's amazing. And you just have to wonder... It's the same story. Where did these people go? What is that? It just always feels so strange to me.
I begin to notice that much of the motel is boarded up or inaccessible. But then I spot the pool, which isn't. So I pass through the rusty metal gate and dip into the faux waters of the deep end. The concrete hole is cracked and riddled with debris, plastic Coke bottles and condom wrappers, and piles of leaves. I peer up at the second floor of the main building, which boasts a crooked spiral staircase, and I wonder who owned this place before it went bankrupt. I decide that it was an elderly couple, and they had no idea how to keep a mom-and-pop motel in business, though I can't say that for sure. And I've looked. There's no information about what happened to the Taney Motel. I wander to a block of rooms towards the back, and I imagine a radio inside of one, playing Leonard Cohen's Chelsea Hotel. But I change the lyrics. I remember you were at the Taney Motel. I stare at my reflection in the smudged glass, and I hear the passing cars zip back and forth. Out of sight, I realize no one can see me. I've pulled the car in far enough that no one can see that either. No one can give me the look. I sincerely doubt someone will drive up onto the lot unless it's a wayward wanderer like me. I'd welcome them. I wander up and down the passageways of the open-air motel lot, passing each room, smushing my nose up against every window, wondering about breakups that happened here. Honeymoons that did too, children who were conceived here, heartbreaks and hopefuls, just trying to make sense of the world that we've created around us. I invite the Missouri August sun to wheedle its way into my pores, and I realize that this is the first moment on this trip when I haven't felt like the look was breathing down my neck.
I love this awning though, it's very cool.
It's so easy for people who don't know what they're talking about to say, just ignore it. Live your best life, babe. That's a little difficult to accomplish with the look hanging onto certain moves I try to make in the world. I think about the sanctuary of queer spaces, safe havens for gay people like me. In that way, abandoned spaces model the queer experience. Entities that have been scorned by the rest of the world, forced to tuck themselves away from the outside, elusive places to create their own authentic realities. I glance up at the fading Taney Motel sign, and I think to myself, you know, maybe I'll just stay here forever.
This is a strange property too, it just loops up and around.
If you're just tuning in, welcome to the 4th season of Abandoned, the All-American Ruins podcast. Join me every other week as I take you on an immersive sonic journey, recounting my expeditions of abandoned spaces across the United States, which I transform into fantastical audio experiences that allow you, dear listener, to dive into my imagination with me, or maybe inspire you to go out and use your own. If you don't want to miss it, please subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And please remember to subscribe, rate, and review only if you feel up to it. Also, if you like to read or enjoy amateur photography, just know that each episode this season is adapted from the original All American Ruins blog, where you can catch up on more of my adventures. All you have to do is visit allamericanruins.com, or you can just follow me on Instagram at All American Ruins. Abandoned, the All American Ruins podcast, is hosted, written, edited, and produced by me, Blake File, with studio space courtesy of Radio Kingston, WKNY, AM 1490, FM 1079 in Kingston, New York. Special thanks to Stev Hull Allen for providing very valuable feedback on every script for every episode this season, and my brilliant mother Beth for editing every blog post that I ever transformed into these audio adventures. And of course, to you. Thank you, my friend, for taking the time to explore these abandoned spaces with me.